Hello. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tina Campbell, the New York and Connecticut regional partner of Master Networks. Welcome to live, um, late night live. It's not as late as it used to be, but which I'm happy about. But we are going to be in a rotation, and it's going to be a bunch of people from Master Networks that's going to be talking on I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday weekly basis. Tonight, I get a chance to have my first live since it's got to be about 6 months or more. I can't even remember now. And I'm so happy to have with me, a really good friend of mine, area director to Master Networks. He is the founder of Unleash My Beast brand, Rob Genovesi. Thank you, Rob, for coming on with me for the first relaunch.
Thank you for the invite. I love speaking with you, and I love what we're going to be talking about. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know us, I'll just explain who I am. Satina Campbell again. Um, I am New York and Connecticut region of Master Networks. We are a national networking organization. And, again, we're in the tri-state area. We have like 35 chapters. We meet weekly. We're virtual. So if anybody's interested, I'll throw up throw up.
You said throw up.
I'll throw up. Um, it's good, right? What do you say? What do you say when you're putting up a tickler?
I
Whatever
don't
it
know. I
is.
go with throw up every time.
I'm throwing up, throwing out.
Yeah,
The
that's good.
regional website. You can find our chapter meetings on there too. But it explains a little bit of who we are. But we're going to tell you too. But first, I want Rob to tell us about who he is and why you should listen to him.
Thank you. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Rob Genovesi, and I'm a brand builder. I have a branding company, which when I started out, I've got 30 years as a graphic designer. Started a website and design company several years back, and quickly found out that it really didn't help any businesses. And I opened up for business for a couple of reasons. The first was as a job guy for 25 years, I really got tired of that grind, and I got tired of leveling up my performance all the time because I was always very learning based. So I was always improving my skills and getting better and always performing well on every subsequent job. But then I would get let go due to economics. One time was economics, but it was politics that got me laid off versus the person who was actually demolishing the place,
Yeah,
who I was supposed to replace.
had that
Uh,
happen.
yeah, so it's unfair, right? So I kind of got fed up, honestly. And that's when I started my company because I wanted control over my future. I wanted to control my income and I wanted to control my time. And that's why I started the company. Later evolved it into a branding company because the other thing I wanted to do is I really wanted to make an impact in businesses. I wanted to help businesses succeed. And with no disrespect to any designers, I've been one for a long time. Designers really don't play a large part in making impact in businesses.
Wow.
That's when I turned to strategy that really made the impact, and the design supports it. So the design has its place, but it's not the thing that really helps level up a business.
Okay, I got it. But it's interesting when you talked about creating the business. Uh, our topic for this evening is, our part of Master Network's core values is, we have it out there, is building a legacy beyond the business. And it really sounds like that was maybe in your mind when you were like, I want my own business.
Well, there was an underlying thing that when you say that kind of thing to people, some people they don't really understand that whole legacy thing. They
Right.
don't understand because they don't. I think you have to have a mindset that thinks bigger than the average person to say, well, what I'm going to do, I want to do something that's going to live on.
And
But
impact, right? You're talking about impact?
yeah, it makes an impact, and even when I'm gone, it's going to continue to make an impact.
Right.
And not that I felt like I was going to change the world or anything, but what I did feel like was, you know, when I had my job, all I was doing was bringing home a paycheck. I was warming a chair, moving some emails, and bringing home a paycheck every 2 weeks. So it really wasn't making an impact anywhere. But when I started my company, And I told you why those two reasons I started. It was, really for control. But as I was thinking about what I want this to be, because I think a lot of people start and they go, okay, I have these design skills, so I'm just going to start designing and I'm going to sell my designs and I'm going to make money. And that's it. And that's what they do. They trade their designs for dollars.
Right.
And even though I was just a website design company, I got clients very quickly, but I only did that because I needed to get the experience in the portfolio work. But while I was doing that, I was working on my processes and the model and thinking, what do I want this company to be? Where do I want this to be 5, 10 years down the road? Because I didn't want to just be a freelancer. A freelancer is somebody who gets hired. They're hired hands. They're like a hired gun.
You mean like a
an old
project? They're like project people, you mean?
Yeah, they're project people. So essentially, the problem I had with it was, and again, if you're a freelancer, that's fine. But the difference is when you're a freelancer, somebody hires you for your hands. They say, go make this for me and then show it to me. And I'm going to tell you to make changes until we get to the place where I'm happy and then I pay you.
Right.
Like a hired gun in the Old West, they hire a guy because he's a better shot, but they tell you who to go shoot. So that's it. That's what a freelancer does. Tell me what you need and I'll do it. Well, I wanted a company where I was going to be hired for my thinking. Like, what's your problem? Okay, let me come up with a solution. And so that company, as I was building the model out, I was thinking, well, what do I want this to be years down the road? Thinking, you know, while I'm building this, I'm not only setting up my financial future, but I thought I've been through the job world and it was fine for what it was for a period of time. It was there when I needed it. But when I learned enough skills to go out on my own, which was always a dream of mine, I thought, okay, I'm going to build a company, but I want to be able to do this so that my kids will always have opportunity. I wanted to provide opportunity for people. So immediately it was for my kids. I thought, whatever they want to do, if I build a company, whether they go into finance or sales or marketing or operations or admin, like I'll build a company and I can employ any one of my kids. They won't have to worry and they'll be able to learn all these great skills through the family business. And it's a dream of mine. And, maybe one day they'll join me, but that was the legacy part of, I wanted to provide for my children an opportunity to really win and to learn business because I'm very pro entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I know that about you. It happened to me. It was kind of like getting hit by lightning. So when I was 45, I think I told my story where I had a health severe health issue, and I was told that I might not make it, and it was a slap in the face and saying, okay, well, wait a minute, now I could go back to bed and maybe think, okay, well, just let's see what happens. Or I just kept thinking, get busy, because my thing is my daughters at the time were, I think they were 8 and 12. So I kept thinking in my mind that, how do I get them to be strong, independent women if something happens to me? I was told, I was actually told honestly that I had 10 years to live.
Wow.
That was not the truth. It was the truth at the time, but it wasn't real in the long run, because there's a lot of things that they've figured out, and I've been to some really great doctors and big brains and all that. So, but to be told that no matter what, it was like a crossroad for me. And I just kept thinking that, wow, these girls have to see that mom can do anything under the circumstances. And I can't tell you, and I love that Pasquale just said, that's great. Hold on. He just said, get busy living or get busy dying.
Great movie.
Right. Great movie. Thanks, Pasquale. I love his quotes, Pasquale's quotes. But, some of you have heard this, so I don't want to belabor the point. It's about, how can I show them, the next generation in my family, that you can do anything? Just put your mind to it. Just stay positive. Like, there were so many things I wanted to teach them, and I thought, I think I could teach them better if I show them.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed, I hopefully, you know, they've seen, and they're doing great right now. They're fantastic. But also what I realized is that, wait a minute, this showing them is I could show others too. You know,
Yeah.
maybe I could affect change in, you know, not just my daughters, but maybe other people, maybe other young women or something. I don't know what it was. But all I know is that I had to get busy, just do it. And, you know, I've created like 3 companies since then.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing. I mean, when I got into Master Networks, a lot of our Master Networks friends who are getting on here now, they probably heard some of this story, but I got in like any other member, just looking to get some more clients. But when you and I met, I think we both had very similar thinking
yeah,
about entrepreneurship, about business ownership, about opportunity. And for me, I'm always talking about opportunity, that as area director, for my area, or even anybody I meet, I say, I just want to make sure we're always creating more opportunity for you to do whatever it is you want to do. Because even when I had a job and I had bosses they were absolute tyrants. One of them in particular was absolute evil person. But I was always loyal to her because she created an opportunity for me to advance in the company.
right.
She didn't give me a handout because she didn't particularly care for me, but she gave me the opportunity.
How could she not care for you?
Because, well, thank you, but no, she was evil. So, good versus evil, evil hates good. So
I feel like it's.
I'm not
Wait a
even
second.
overstating it, by the way.
Wait a second. I'm cracking up because all I could think of is like rock, paper, scissors. Like good trumps evil.
Yeah, well, this was good versus evil, but she was
It's
all.
hilarious.
So, but I was loyal because she opened up an opportunity and said, do something with it. And I did. So I was loyal. And so that meant a lot to me. So when I left the company, I always thought, like, I always appreciated that, because I never wanted to hand out, and I never wanted to get anything for free. I wanted to deserve whatever I got. But for somebody to offer opportunity. So when you and I met, and you're like, hey, I know you do this branding thing, but what do you really want to do? As if you saw like right into my
I
soul,
did. I did.
that there was something else there. I know you did.
Sometimes I see things.
I see. I know you see things. We've talked about that before. Well, you see that, and inside I was like, what the heck? Like, who asked that kind of question? And you were on the money, because
Well,
I
I
knew
think
there was
it's.
something special here.
But also, you know what I just find is like it's more interesting. You know, if people just, you know, talking about building a legacy, it's like legacy isn't just the business. It's like it's your life. So that can be so many different, right? They're like our in Master Networks, we have all our life coaches, right? And they talk about that kind of wheel, right? And and it's like, physical, it's spiritual, it's, work life, it's family, it's all of those components, right? So, I go back to that one thing, the thing, which is how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So if that person, who wasn't very nice, probably isn't happy with the rest of everything, right?
No.
But I can't believe Pasquale's he's quoting from Spaceballs now. That's hilarious.
It's dumb.
Oh, you're cracking me up, Pasquale. He's what makes me laugh. So anyway, so I think that going back to it's like work-life balance. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, but I think that you have to, you know, your legacy isn't just you working 80 hours and not seeing your kids,
Right.
right? So people can think that, oh, I'm leaving my kids money, and what do kids want from you is their time.
Right.
But it was hard for me because I had to balance all of that, and I had elderly parents. And I was telling somebody today, actually I was talking to Lynn Rowe today, which was a great conversation. Lynn is amazing.
I love Lynn.
And so I was talking to her today, and I was telling her that when as I was growing Master Networks, the region, and I was losing my parents at the same time. And I had the kids. And so it was really like, I said, it wasn't even the sandwich generation. I said, I felt like a panini that I was smashed between two hot, you know, whatever they call those things, the pans or whatever. it was so rough. And like, I don't even know now that like the kids are gone. The kids are on flying on their own. My parents, unfortunately, are gone. And it's like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I have all of you now. You're
Yeah.
my next, you're all my next family to work with. But
Next of kin, when you think about it, think about this for a second. I mean, I love telling your story, even though I wasn't around, but when you started all by yourself with no chapters, no group, no nothing. And, today, with 35 chapters with 570 people in the area is no small feat. But the thing is, then there's people like myself who comes along who capture that vision, who want to do what you're doing, who want to perpetuate it. And so now what I'm doing in my area is the same thing you kind of started out with, although I would never claim
oh,
um,
stop it.
to live up to what you've done. Well, I couldn't do it from scratch. Well, that's why. To do it from scratch, you're a special kind of person. I can perpetuate what you've done. Like you just kind of say,
Well,
here's the model. I just work it. So I don't really think I'm doing much of a big deal. But to keep opening chapters and to keep talking to people and keep connecting people, long after we're gone, this will perpetuate because
right.
we'll keep, as long as people have opportunity, what you're doing is you're enriching their lives. And when you help make people's lives better, that that is what really wins out. That's what
Right.
legacy is.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know what? People are not even going to remember us
Right.
as being the people that started whatever it was, the relationships or whatever. Um, Jean is on. Thanks, Jean. She's calling us. She says, "We're lucky to know you. Thanks."
Ditto.
Um, yeah, same thing, Jean. I mean, that's what I look at it. Jean and I sitting in the Panera Bread in Ramsey, New Jersey, for like years, and just trying to get something off the ground. And then we had COVID, and suddenly we were all in these squares together, and it just became amazing. You know,
Yeah.
um,
You know what I think about? I think about when, um, the reason I started building the area. I didn't necessarily want to be an area director. You know me, give, I could care less about titles, awards. Like I don't care about any of that stuff. But when I got in and you said, "What do you really want to do?" and I told you, I'm launching a speaking career. I want to teach. I want to train. And what happened was the next thing you basically gave me a workshop, right? And then you introduced me to people who I could speak to, and that cascaded outside of Master Network to speaking engagements. And I got clients fairly quick in Master Networks, which was great. So what I saw was, I went, how can I help her? So I was talking about this with Maggie earlier, Maggie Carey. We were talking about how do you build trust, and you you helped me get something I was looking for and didn't ask anything in return. So what did I do after several months? I was like, hey, who's helping the chapters over here where I live
yeah,
and you're not? How can I help? Or all I wanted to do was help you. I didn't even really, I wasn't thinking, hey, I'm going to build this area. I'm going to be an area director. It was
yeah.
not.
But do you remember what I made you do though? What did I make you do? As far as I said, come to this. We were having an area director meeting, and remember what I just said? I just said, show up.
Show up. Well, yeah, you said that to the wrong person. You tell me to show, you asked me to show. Well, I mean, honestly, because
Well,
what
who I
you
didn't
did,
know. Who knew?
right? But what you did for me created a loyalty. So that's part of the legacy. In that, when you help me get what I want, I become loyal to you. So now, what do? I perpetuate what you want. I turn around and say, how can I help you? And so, somebody was very kind last week in a meeting, and I forget actually who it was, but they said, we really appreciate you continuing to, help us grow and open new chapters
Wow.
and create more opportunity.
Because that's what it is. It's so
Correct.
think about it. When you think about networking, which is kind of sometimes seems like such an old and kind of tired word, but if you really think about what is that, I think of it as energy. I think of it as, like, I think about, like, so the one thing I always wanted to do is I always thought when I said I want to affect change, that was my whole thing. I wanted to affect change before, in case I was limited on time. I wanted to affect change, but I thought if I drop the pebble, in the pond, I wanted to see the ripples. And
Right.
to me, that's what legacy was about. It was a legacy but also creating the legacy that my kids could see and participate in. And both of them have been to meetings. Megan and Justin, her fiance, have been to Connect every year except this past year because it was, during COVID.
Yeah.
And they have been as, 19 years old. She was 19 to the first one she came to. And, now she's 26. And Justin is, he's a chef, but he came and he met all these people. He met Chaz Wilson, and Chaz has actually reached out to Justin, my future son-in-law, just to say, hey, hey man, how you doing, type of thing. I'm just like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, it
there
is.
he is. There's Chaz.
Oh, what's up, partner? There you
I'm
go.
talking about you, Chaz.
He heard, so he jumped on. He's like, "What's she saying?"
It's all good. But I mean, that legacy, right? So as I was saying, Chaz is reaching. I mean, who would have that when you're creating those opportunities for other people, right? And people are like, oh, this is a person like you, Rob, who are connecting people. So guess what? This is going to be this legacy that we're creating is beyond us. Coach Glow said, she said, what are we talking about after we're gone? She goes, I'm not going anywhere.
No, she's not.
She's not.
She's gonna live forever.
Yeah, she'll live forever. She'll tell our story.
I know. But I love that part you talking about, with the kids, and especially during COVID, when we were all on Zoom and we were all working from home. I mean, by then I was working from home anyway, but my kids, they would tiptoe in the room to see if it was okay. And I go, what is it? Come over here. Because it didn't matter
Bring
who
them
I was
in.
on with. Come over here. And said, you can always come in. You can always, because I want them to hear, I want them to meet, I want them to see the people I'm associated with.
Yes.
Because what I'm doing is, I mean, what we're doing is we're teaching, right? Through observation. I'm showing them what networking is. I'm showing them how to talk to people, how to be confident with people.
Yep.
And they're watching this. So when you talk about legacy, what kind of impact do you make in a child's life to have them see you with all these people talking good things about you, their parent? You don't think their parents are cool, but when they hear other people say it, they believe it a little bit.
We like to think that.
Yeah, we like to. I know. But when they see that, it's impact, it's going in. So it is making an impact. And so if you think about that one thing alone, long after I'm gone, hopefully, maybe they saw something, maybe they learned
That's
something along the
legacy.
way where they teach their kids, because I'm looking
yeah.
to break that chain. Like, I want my kids and future generations, I want them to be entrepreneurs. And this can be debated with a lot of people, because a lot of people don't believe in entrepreneurship because they think not everybody can do it, or it's too risky. So, you got to tell them to get a safe job. And I would be reckless if I said everybody should do it. This is just my opinion. But what I do understand is that when you are an entrepreneur, that's the only way you get a chance, for the most part, to make an impact in the kids' lives and other people's lives, because you are creating the opportunity for others. You're giving employment to others. You have to learn lots of different skills so you become better at life. And look, I'm going to tell you, through entrepreneurship, this guy who was painfully shy,
me too,
and scared of everything and clueless, I learned some skills over the years. But to be able to change like that, so my kids don't have to go through what I went through, so they can turn around and teach their kids, that's legacy.
It's legacy. And I noticed that behind you, we have the Entrepreneur Survival Guide.
Yes.
That's you.
Funny you should notice. Written by one of my favorite authors, Satina Campbell.
Well, thank you for helping me format it and put it on Amazon. But the reason I brought it up is because I put that together more than any reason was because I did it during COVID, because you know how scared I was. Like, if something happens, I wanted the girls to have that.
Right.
Even if, nobody ever looked at it but them, if they could just go like, oh, look, grandma was cool.
Right.
Grandma did
It
this
was
thing.
somebody.
She put this guide together. But in that guide, there's a couple of things I just want to talk about. Legacy. Chaz Wilson, CEO of Master Networks, I mentioned him because he gave me this opportunity. And before him, it was Dave Jenks, and who my business partner of many years, actually 12 years, passed away last week. And so I was telling you before we got on that the fact that I sent that to Dave, I don't even know how long ago I sent him that guide. And I just wanted to see, like, Dave, who's this author, and when he called me and he said, Tina, I read it. It's short, right? It's just a little, like, short, like, workbook kind of thing. And he said to me, I really liked it. He goes, it was in your voice. And he goes, I'm so proud of you. So, I feel really good about that, because Dave got to see me talking about him, like, in this thing that I wrote. And he's this author, and he said, that he just really appreciated it. And so I'm just like, again, legacy, right? So I think also what you have to do, and I just want to say one thing I think is really important, is you got to act on the legacy, right? So if you think you're going to do something, and you want to do something, and you want that person to, be, to know it, or whatever, whether it's just even saying, thank you, and it doesn't have to be written down. I'm just saying, call that person tomorrow that gave you that, as we say in Master Networks, Chaz Wilson says, you're one relationship away from changing your future. That was Dave Jenks. That was Chaz Wilson. That's you, Rob. It's like all of you guys are all shaping the future that I'm leaving for my kids, which is the legacy. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, well, thank you, because you may play it down and say, well, it's not very thick, but here's the thing: most people in their life will not write a book. And when you think about what legacy is, it's about something that's going to live on after we're gone. And the fact is, you wrote this book, so you got your thoughts down on paper that will live on forever. Like, this will always be around. And what you've done in Master Networks to create the region and how they're connected. So some people go, well, to leave a legacy, they always think like, you've got to leave a lot of money and donate money to get a wing of a hospital built, and it's got your name on the side. And while there's some commendations for that, the stuff that you leave behind that actually helps people in their lives. And I'm not playing down
Could be little things.
Medical centers, but what happens is they know how you think, so they go, so this is how she built what she built. So when I look at this, the reason I love this so much and that you did this,
and I didn't ask you to talk about this.
No, but look, this all comes to legacy because, I've been hounding you since, shortly after we met, like asking you questions about how you build chapters and what makes chapters succeed. And what about this? What about that? Because I want to know your thought process, because when I started to think, I want to help my chapter, my original chapter, grow. Little old, nothing member, no role or nothing. How do I do that? You told me how. When I started to build the area where I am as area director, I continue to ask questions because I want to know what you thought, because you did it.
Yeah.
So when you come out with this, and it's like, well, this is part of how she did what she did. It's connected to the region. It's connected to your businesses. We're talking about a true living legacy, because people will take your thought process and apply to something and win.
That would
be cool.
Impact. That would be really cool. Yeah, well, I think, I thank you for the reason I'm laughing is because it's always there behind you.
Always.
I don't know. Do you switch it out depending on who you're speaking to?
Yeah.
You have a rotating book.
Hold on a second. Wait. I think Chaz is on here, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Another great book. Look, I keep these things near me because, again, it's made an impact on me. So I keep these things near to remind me, to refer to, because it is about the impact.
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm excited to see. I know that Dave and Chaz were working on a couple of projects, and that was, obviously, stopped, really just stalled when Dave, just passed away last week. But I know that Chaz and I talked about it, and his legacy will live on. Chaz is going to finish those projects. I think they have a book coming out together, and I'm really excited for that. And again, it's going to be, his legacy is going to live on. If those people who don't know Dave, please go to davejenks.com. His whole library is there. It's some amazing stuff. He was an amazing person, speaker, author, teacher. So if you have a chance, please go to that. Thank you, Jean. Jean said, it's all the people you inspire. That's so much part of your legacy. You wrote it down so even more people can be inspired. Thanks, Jean. It means a lot, huh? So, Rob, that's our 30 minutes. We could just keep going on, but I want to let everybody go to bed. So it's a big,
Let's
it's
see
always
how long they'll stay on. If we just keep talking, maybe let's see
No.
how late we can keep them up.
No, they'll hate us tomorrow.
No.
But we're going to see a lot of them tomorrow at our meetings and stuff. If you're interested in coming and finding out more about Master Networks, if you guys, if people don't know it, just want to make sure that we have that's our regional website. It's masternetworksnyct.com. Tells you a little bit about Master Networks. And Rob, I think I have your way to contact you is unleashmybeastbrand.com. Branding coach, friend, legacy maker. So just want to say thank you because, this is the first one that I've done in, on the live late at night thing that we were doing previously. I know Chaz during COVID must have done, I think, 66 days straight or something.
Yeah.
And then we started taking over some of the other people. But, I really it was great to have you because, again, we could just keep talking and, that makes it very easy. And I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for having me. And as I always tell you, so, we could talk for hours. And I think one of the reasons is because, we do like to talk about some of this bigger picture stuff because honestly, there's a lot of work to do. When you're talking legacy and impact, there's a lot of work to do. And we're short.
Also, it never ends. So, right. And you know what?
Right.
A legacy, by the way, I don't want anybody to think that it's only like a big thing. Sometimes just a legacy could be spending some time with your kids.
Yeah.
Just being present, could be present with a friend, just being present in the moment with a friend. So please don't think that it's like you have to do, too much. It's do what you can, but just be conscious of it. And I think once you're conscious of it, more thoughts come like, oh, I like that. Or my kids talk to me more, right? And again, hopefully these are just some ideas for you guys to think about in the legacy. And if you have any questions, I know Rob, you're around, go to his website. I'm sure there's a way to contact him through that. You guys know how to get me also through the website, masternetworksnyct.com if you need it. But, happy to talk about this. And Rob, I'm sure we're going to keep talking. You and I will show up again on people's Facebooks and they'll be like, oh, no, not them again. So.
Well, hopefully they'd want to hear more and we can get some more interaction and get people their thoughts, maybe what they're doing, because I know that people are thinking about this stuff. Somebody said to me one time that everybody has a book in them and everybody needs to write down their story. And, I believe that's to be true, although not everybody will. But if you think about it, if everybody wrote the story of them, there's a lot to be learned in the experiences that everybody have. And it's one of the parts of our core values of Master Networks about contribution that I always talk about. I said, everybody's got valuable life and business experience, and we need to hear it. Somebody needs to hear your story.
So, and by the way, you're a new golfer, Michael's saying?
Mike. Yeah.
You haven't hurt anybody lately.
That will not be my legacy, that's for sure.
Hey, Donna. Thank you, dear. We appreciate Bobby Jones, Ellen.
You all.
We have so many great people. It's amazing. Barbara's on. Hey, Barbara Punzi. How are you, hon? It's just wonderful. Thank you guys for your support. We love you. And if anybody, has ideas about legacy, I'd love to hear it. Put it in the comments section. And maybe this is something that we want to do a longer workshop on, not live, but maybe we do something through the region on legacy. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
That would be really cool.
And imagine if everybody like kind of brought their thoughts to it. That would be neat.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So thank you. Good night. We love you, Nicole Cutler. Thank you, dear. We really she's amazing, by the way. She's the amazing acupuncturist, and becoming a real leader in our chapter. So thank you, Nicole.
Yeah,
all right, guys. All right. So thanks, guys. Have a good night. Thank you, Rob.
Everybody.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye.